evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to this special day of graduation and celebration. This is one of the most important days in the academic calendar. It's a day when we come together as a community with our graduates, their families and friends, to celebrate their academic achievements. It's also our opportunity as a community to say thank you to them and to other special people for their contributions to the RCS. I now invite the Chair of the Board of Governors, Professor Dorothy Meal, to address the congregation.
Thank you, Principal Sharkey. Good evening to all our guests and welcome to the Conservatoire. It's my pleasure to introduce the formal elements of our ceremony. By virtue of the powers granted by the Privy Council, the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland is this day holding a congregation for the conferment of degrees. We will also, on behalf of the Board of Governors, confer a fellowship, and on behalf of the Academic Board, confer Honorary Doctorates. Our ceremony begins with the conferment of a fellowship of the Royal Conservatoire. It's my honour, on behalf of the Board of Governors, to introduce this fellowship. Therefore, I have pleasure in inviting Professor Joshua Dixon, Head of Traditional Music, to sponsor Professor Fred Freeman.
Chair, Principal, Governors, Fellows of the Conservatoire, members of the Academic Board, graduates, invited guests. Professor Fred Freeman has been a member of staff for the Department of Traditional Music here at the Conservatoire since 2011, after we had invited him to present a paper at an international conference on Scots and Scottish Gaelic song, a symposium organised in partnership with colleagues at Salmore Ostick in 2010. Fred's ability to engage an audience rhetorically and musically made a significant impression on a diverse international audience. He demonstrated a unique skill in curating and producing studio recordings of traditional Scottish music and song of exquisite quality, situating the music in a British and broader European context, and presenting Scottish traditional music's role in a shared ecosystem with wider Western art music in a clear and engaging way. Since then, Fred's tenure at the Conservatoire has enhanced the role that the Scots language plays in our curriculum as the nexus where folk and art song meet, resulting in a growth of teaching, research, and public engagement in the field of Scottish music, and instilling in our students an understanding of that music's deeply cosmopolitan roots within the broader European artistic landscape. In his long and storied career, Fred has embodied many roles: musician, scholar, curator, teacher, mentor, producer, composer, and public intellectual. His most monumental contribution to music has arguably been his artistic direction in the arranging and recording of the complete repertoire, over 360 songs, of Robert Burns, regarded worldwide as Scotland's national poet and a songwriter and collector whose ideals of human dignity and equality gave voice to an early Western liberalism and anticipated the abolition of slavery in both Britain and America. In these works, Fred produced 12 volumes released by Lynn Records, in which he painstakingly arranged and produced each song for ensemble performance by the leading singers and instrumentalists of the modern Scottish revival era. Few have ever crafted a synthesis of such probing scholarship and such exacting studio production standards to such immaculate musical effect. Fred's complete songs of Robert Burns, and more recently his 5-volume ode to another Scottish Enlightenment figure, Robert Tannahill, offer a unique and unprecedented synthesis of cutting-edge literary criticism and outstanding musicianship, which will continue to inform ballad studies for generations to come. As a public intellectual, contributing to national and international discourse through the time-honored medium of the open letter, and as a fearless correspondent with globally significant artists, politicians, and thought leaders, Fred embodies the qualities of his two heroes, Robert Burns and Hamish Henderson, defending the rights and dignity of Adam's bairns, and speaking truth to power in a voice that is unmistakably his own. I therefore have great pleasure in asking the Chair to confer Fellowship of the Royal Conservatoire upon Professor Fred Freeman.
In the name of the Board of Governors, I have great pleasure in conferring Fellowship of the Royal Conservatoire upon you, Fred Freeman.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our ceremony continues with the conferment of honorary degrees. The authority of degree awarding powers resides with the Academic Board of the Conservatoire, which may confer an honorary degree of doctor upon any person it considers has made a truly outstanding contribution to their profession and whose achievements richly deserve high distinction and recognition. Therefore, Principal Sharkey, I now invite Dr. Mark Silberschatz, Director of Stage and Screen, and Jean Sangster, Head of Voice and the Centre for Voice and Performance, to jointly sponsor Philip Howard for the degree of Doctor of Drama.
Chair, Principal, Governors and Fellows of the Conservatoire, members of the Academic Board, graduands, invited guests. How do you properly celebrate the life and work of someone who has so steadfastly dedicated himself to enriching, empowering, and centering others, especially when even a portion of the praise so richly deserved might make him physically recoil? Well, Philip, there's no turning back now, because by any measure, when a future history of Scottish theatre is written, you will be recognized inarguably as one of its prime movers. So strap in.
Philip was not born into a theatrical family at all. It was at school that he first encountered theatre, acting, and indeed directing. By the time he left, he'd directed 2 full-length plays. This interest grew while studying classics at Cambridge, compelling him to audition for drama school on leaving university. In his own words, "I did not get in, thank goodness." Instead, postgraduate studies at St Andrews followed, and with it, Philip's first connection with the Traverse Theatre in Edinburgh, Scotland's home of new writing. Here, Philip met the playwright John McGrath, who introduced Philip to a generation of powerful Scottish writers who were paving the way for others and what was to follow. Philip identifies this time as being, and I quote, "when my mind and soul became filled with new Scottish playwrights." 2 wonderful years at the Royal Court followed through the Regional Theatre Young Directors Scheme. But Scotland was beckoning, and fortunately for us, Philip returned, now utterly obsessed with living playwrights. He directed his first play for the Traverse in 1991, became associate director 2 years later, before succeeding Ian Brown as artistic director in 1996, a post Philip was loyal to for 11 years. New writing was already at the heart of Scottish theatre, but this period is described by many as a golden age, an era of political and cultural optimism that had the back of new, courageous, confident writers who were climbing onto the broad shoulders of those Philip had found so deeply inspiring as a student in St Andrews. To work with new writing is to be able to first identify a voice and thereafter not only develop the work, but nurture the writer too, sometimes over a long period of time. Philip gathered around him a group of actors who he inspired and encouraged to, like him, centre the spoken word the play and the playwright, so that, as he puts it, the play becomes the very best version of itself. Philip introduced new structures and creative ways of working. International writers joined with Scottish ones to work together on their plays. Class Act, the theatre's well-established and much-loved schools programme, went out to Ukraine, India, as well as Wester Hailes. The Traverse established Scotland's international reputation for new drama and a working model in new writing for others to follow. The annual Highland and Islands tours at the Traverse were of the utmost importance to Philip, who in the early 80s had spent 4 summers with the National Gaelic Youth Theatre on the Isle of Benbecula. Philip chose for his final Highland tour in 2007 The Pearl Fisher, a play written by Lewis-born Ian Finlay MacLeod, who Philip had first encountered 18 years previously as a teenager on Benbecula. In his 11 years at the Traverse, Philip directed over 20 world premieres, including the first full productions of plays by David Gregg and David Harrower, to name but 2 of the many brilliant writers who emerged at this time, both now having rightful international recognition. 3 years as joint artistic director of Dundee Rep followed, before pursuing a freelance directing, dramaturgy and establishing Pearl Fisher, a new theatre company for Scotland and beyond, matching the production of new work to talent development. Entering at ground level, descending the wide staircase down into the Traverse Theatre, especially during the Edinburgh Festival Fringe, felt electric, alive and dangerous, with its atmosphere of infinite possibilities, pulsating can-do energy, and great plays. Personally, this was a time and place that shaped my life as well as my work. More recently, it has been a privilege to share the creative space with Philip. Generous, kind, inspiring. Philip and I worked together with the musical theatre students on new and old writing, always in harmony with our shared understanding and passion for the spoken word and the integration of storytelling and music. In an interview with Philip in 2018, he said that the first production of Knives in Hens by David Harrower, with composer Martin Bennett playing live, a play Philip developed and directed at the Traverse, was one of his most memorable theatre experiences. Me too. Philip collaborated on this and many productions with Ros Steen, Professor Emerita and founder of the Centre for Voice in Performance. Through this artistic and creative partnership, Philip says, Ros unlocked something for me which I could then never unlearn. Her practice and research, cited in a Scottish context, helped turn the actor's work into a 360-degree performance, where the body and voice joined forces with the intellect. And to quote Ros, Philip was the single most influential director on the direction my voice practice and research of the Nadine George voice work was to take, both in the profession and at the Centre for Voice and Performance at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland.
But Philip's contribution to RCS goes beyond the Centre for Voice and Performance. He's been a regular fixture here, directing Sunday in the Park with George, Merrily We Roll Along, Brigadoon, London Road, and for many years, training our MA and MFA acting and directing students in the processes and practices of new writing development. Philip has undertaken this with care, compassion, and an impeccable ability to draw the best out of everyone. And in so doing, Philip has done what he's always done: inspired, developed and nurtured the voices of another generation of artists, helping them to become the best versions of themselves. Many of them are graduating today. It has been my pleasure and privilege to have worked with Philip on this at times. So I've had, as it were, a front row seat to Philip's consideration and skill. I've devoured his wisdom like the most eager of students, and my own work is better for Philip's influence. This influence is celebrated in this evening's performance, which includes a short excerpt adapted from Knives and Hens. In the original production, the part of the young woman was played by the late Pauline Knowles, graduate and one of the foremost actors of her generation. Music was composed and improvised by the late Martin Bennett, also a graduate, an inspiration to generations of traditional musicians around the world. We will see a latest generation take up that work, inspired by and carrying forward a legacy. And when it comes to supporting artists to carry forward a legacy, we once again find Philip at the center, offering more than inspiration. In 2019, David Harrower, Pearl Fisher, and the RCS established the Pauline Knowles Scholarship Fund to help a Scottish or Scotland-based BA acting student throughout their training at the Conservatoire. Inspiration, material support, and the instilling of craft and rigor. Philip has done all these things, but there's yet another layer to what he's given. What he imparts through example is a set of values, service, using one's talent and energy to uplift others, humility, the eschewal of ego in the recognition that one might not be the most important voice in a collaborative art form, and a fierce belief that theater can and should be a place where we come together to do something meaningful and important, something bigger than any individual. In a world that increasingly seems to isolate us and push us toward a toxic individualism, Philip Howard stands as a humane beacon in this most human of art forms. To work with him is to learn not just what to do, but to gain a profound and abiding connection to those deepest of values on which our work is built. Through Philip, we learn how to do it right. We therefore ask the principal to confer the degree of Doctor of Drama honoris causa upon Philip Howard.
Philip, by virtue of the powers granted by the Privy Council to the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland to confer an honorary degree of the Conservatoire upon any person it may deem worthy of such distinction, and in the name of the Academic Board, I confer upon you, Philip Howard, the degree of Doctor of Drama honoris causa. Congratulations. I now invite Dr. Philip Howard to address our graduates, please.
I'm glad I wrote this down. Thank you to the Academic Board for the honour. It truly means a lot to me. And thank you, Jean and Mark. I love you guys too. A privilege of working here is to witness the culture of the 360-degree artist that the Conservatoire fosters. By 360 degrees, I mean, I think, a performer or technician or designer who has more than one string to their bow and who realizes all the implications of the work they're making for the wider world. So, for example, when I worked on a musical theatre production here and discovered that the sound engineer was more interested in the dramaturgy of the show than they were in the sound design, I should quickly add that their work was superb, but the experience did teach me not to compartmentalize people, or at least try not to. An equal joy has been working with actors and directors on the Masters in Classical and Contemporary Text, and finding a treasure trove of playwriting talent in seemingly every cohort. Sometimes it's as if they're taken aback by their own aptitude as writers because it's not the specific thing they came to study. We shouldn't be surprised. The common factor is, of course, storytelling. Maybe every generation thinks that storytelling is more important than it ever has been before, but I can't help feeling that we really do need stories and storytelling more than ever. The writers, musicians, designers, all the storytellers are the scribes of the nation, any nation, every people. They define the culture. They are the ones who write it into being. A novelist friend said to me when I told her what I was doing today, she said, "Tell them that the artists are the messengers of not just how the world is, but of what it could be." She's right. What has all this to do with an RCS graduate re-entering the real world? Well, the thing I believe most passionately for you is that you have to find a way of keeping your creative muscles exercised. And this applies more forcefully the longer it takes you to find your path. It's essential to remain match fit for the opportunities for when they arise, which, by the way, they will, if only you persevere. I've seen the best of the cohorts and acting companies and technical craftspeople I've worked with here. The tensions and the bad bits are largely hidden from view if you're a freelancer. And the best has been excellent. You need to bottle those experiences and let them carry you through the lean times by sticking together with your closest collaborators from your cohort and finding ways of continuing to make work together. It is possible to do this for free. At a scratch night, for example, every city has a scratch night. The least it will do is exercise the creative muscles, and at best, you will make a piece of work that you're proud of. Oh, and which you can sell. It's also a way of exploring the stories you want to tell or develop the ones you've begun here. It will add your story to the wider culture, and for the writers among you, it's essential. Also, don't underestimate the importance of, well, I was going to say persistence, but I think that can be a bit irritating for the other person sometimes. So let's say perseverance or doggedness. There's a certain dogged quality that will get you a long way. To all of you who are graduating today, congratulations on your achievement, and I wish you all the luck with whatever you choose to do. Thank you.
Principal Sharkey, I now invite Professor Lois Fitch, Deputy Principal, to sponsor Jack Lowden for the degree of Doctor of Drama.
Chair, Principal, Governors, Fellows of the Conservatoire, members of the Academic Board, graduands, invited guests, and Jack. In 2014, Screen Daily had already identified the then 23-year-old Jack Lowden as one of the UK stars of tomorrow, having just won an Olivier Award for his portrayal of Oswald in the Almeida Theatre revival of Ibsen's Ghosts. Just over a decade later, and that tomorrow has been realised, and Jack is one of Scotland and the UK's foremost actors, and we are honoured to have him with us today. His plethora of credits include work on stage, film, and TV. War and Peace for the BBC, he played Morrissey in England Is Mine, Lord Darnley in Mary Queen of Scots opposite Margot Robbie and Jack's wife, Saoirse Ronan. In 2018, he starred in Dunkirk, directed by Christopher Nolan. Apple TV's Slow Horses, in which he plays not-so-slow MI5 operative River Cartwright opposite Gary Oldman's scruffy spy master. He's picked up a Primetime Emmy nomination this year for this. He's been in Steve McQueen's Small Axe. He has also starred in and produced horror drama Kindred and won a Scottish BAFTA for his role as the poet Siegfried Sassoon in Terence Davies' final film, Benediction. Sassoon's poem, Everyone Sang, will be performed by Nathan Batchu, current second-year acting student, as part of the graduation performance moment. The film Benediction follows the life of Siegfried Sassoon, a British poet and decorated World War I combat veteran who was sent to a psychiatric facility for his anti-war stance. The story of how this path started is told by Jack in typically amusing and modest terms. He says, "My younger brother wanted to become a ballet dancer and is one." And at the time this quote was given, Callum was principal dancer at the Royal Swedish Ballet. He wanted to do that at a young age, and I sort of went along with him. I was awful and was sort of quickly encouraged, maybe not to dance in the shows, but to narrate them. I narrated everything from Alice in Wonderland to Sleeping Beauty to entertain the adults who'd come to watch their kids dance. That's how I fell in love with the stage. Jack's later characterization of acting as rhythm, citing Frank Sinatra's sense of rhythm in performance as an inspiration, may also have been formed through this early coming together of dance, music, and spoken word, as well as his experience as a young person of amateur operatics. In his view, the actual content of what is being conveyed is subjective and in the audience's interpretation, but Jack says that, "I'll read a script, and if the rhythm is enjoyable, if it feels like music, that's what really excites me." He was born in Chelmsford, Essex, England, to parents of Scottish origin, Jackie and Gordon Lowden, who are also with us today. Jack and his brother Callum were raised in Oxton in the Scottish borders, where eclectic pastimes include farming, rugby, and those amateur operatics, where an equally eclectic young Jack poured himself an inch of Diet Coke on the rocks and pretended it was whiskey in homage to Sinatra, but also had a self-confessed unhealthy obsession with only fools and horses. Jack says, "I consider myself 100% Scottish for sure. My parents are Scottish, it's where I was brought up, it's where I was made. And it's true that my first screen role was an Iron Brew advert. I did it when I was 18 at drama school, and I think it was played during halftime in the Champions League final or something. I think of it like national service." That Iron Brew advert from 2009 was a spoof of High School Musical set in Auchenduket High School. Jack is an all-singing, all-dancing, and very much like the refrain of the song, he too, in the moment, was fizzy, ginger, and phenomenal. You'll have to Google it. Staying on the theme of Scotland, the subject of accents comes up often in interviews with Jack, a hilarious one from the Graham Norton show, and again, clips available online and in print. The shows and roles already cited earlier point to a range of accents he can deploy, but Jack particularly appreciates the occasions when he can speak in his Scottish accent, suggesting that an actor can be freer to play within the authenticity of it. To one interviewer who says he was surprised to discover Jack was Scottish, he responded, "I love working in my accent. I think a lot of actors do. I think you can tap into things a lot quicker, but I'm glad that you didn't think I was Scottish because it's a pain in the arse in many ways. But it's also part of the fun. It's part of the dressing up, which is great." The Graham Norton interview riffs on the joke that meeting a new person, Jack will say something whimsical in a Scottish accent, and then if or often when he's not understood, turn on an exaggerated received pronunciation. He said, I very rarely get to use my accent. I think Dunkirk was one of the few where I was allowed to use it. And even then, I had to convince Mr. Nolan that it would be okay to let me be Scottish and fly in the air. I very rarely get to use my own accent. Jack completed his BA acting at the then RSAMD in 2011. The one and only Joyce Deans, head of BA acting at RCS, shared with me some recollections of his time in the programme. Joyce says, when we caught up last year for the creative conversation on the play The Fifth Step, which sees Jack return to the National Theatre of Scotland, where Jack was joined by fellow graduates, director Finn Den Hertog and playwright David Ireland, they all talked about how much they admired each other's work and how they'd always wanted to work with each other, which was lovely to hear from graduates from different years. There's something special about RCS as a convening point for artists of all stripes and long into careers. That said, all three admitted to leaving class whilst at RCS to have a cry. Jack ran out to cry in a phone box. Finn and David both remembered going to the toilets to cry. Clearly a rite of passage in the BA acting programme, but even in this, Jack expressed his individuality by selecting a phone box as the venue for the weeping. Joyce also tells a story of Jack's sense of commitment while still such a young learner at the academy. In second year, students are allowed to work professionally depending on the job, of course. Jack had been offered a professional theatre job and came to discuss this with Joyce. And she told him it was up to him to decide what to do. She'd support his decision either way. He asked what he'd been missing by taking on the job, and it was a Shakespeare production, a mashup of Romeo and Juliet and 'Tis Pity She's a Whore. He said he'd stay and do the Shakespeare and not take on the professional job. Clearly showing his professional potential early on in his studies, Jack was cast in the National Theatre of Scotland's Black Watch in his third and final year with us. And this remains the National Theatre of Scotland's biggest hit to date. Joyce remembers going to see it at the Scottish Event Campus, a huge venue. She recalls his performance was outstanding. What made it so good was the vulnerability Jack brought to his performance. It's hard to describe the lack of a filter or barrier between him and the audience. That's something you can't manufacture. And time and again, professional reviews of Jack's work will speak in similar terms. The James Bridie Gold Medal is awarded every year for the best performance of an acting student in their final year. And even though Jack was out with Black Watch that entire year, the BA acting staff team couldn't not give it to him. What his classmates thought of that decision is anyone's guess, but the awards have kept coming in a distinguished career across a wide range of roles and media. Jack says, the parts I've been able to play have not followed a typical trajectory. They've been quite self-destructive, which I love exploring. I like to see a character whose finger is always hovering over the self-destruct button. As mentioned, Jack has added an advertising campaign to an eclectic assortment of roles on stage and screen, but he knows where his heart will always belong. He says, I'll always be a stage actor, first and foremost. It's how I started. It's where I feel most comfortable. It's where I enjoy it most because of the rehearsal period, rather than the performing. You truly get to work stuff out. It's a hallmark of Jack's humility that he is still committed to this work, craft, and creative growth on the stage, and to the necessity of taking time to get the most out of and put the most into a project. He says there's not as much time on film and TV to do that. I feel more creative on stage because of that time. It does really depend on what the material is. I'm at a stage in my career where I'm very lucky that there's a certain amount of choice allowed to me, and it's all I've ever really wanted to get to in this career is having choice. So I'm very lucky that I do get to choose, and I can't wait to do another play. He's come a long way since an early stage review described him as, and this is a direct quote, a perky-nippled Tintin lookalike. I would say more on that, but I think Jack's own speech is going to mention it, and though it certainly bears being quoted several times today, I'll leave it there, and suffice to say that later in his career, Jack has shared that he's his own worst critic, probably safer, though whether he's ever equalled the poetic qualities of the perky-nippled epithet, only he can say. Yet he also knows when he's done well, and relates something that we hope all our graduates will experience in time. He says, "I've realized that the people that I look to for approval have gotten less and less and less. And I think that can only be a good thing." Wait till you hear what David Ireland says about you, which I'm saving till the very end. It's a mark of Jack's reflectiveness as an actor, his growing confidence as an artist, and his ambition to give something back to the profession that has given him choice, that he has also taken on several executive producing credits on films like The Outrun, Kindred, and Benediction. His aspirations behind the camera extend even further than developing projects from the ground up. Ultimately, he wants to direct, extending his own learning and experience to lift up actors by creating the conditions where others can deliver their best work. He thrives off great actors, something again about the rhythm in great work, inspired by the commitment and talents of fellow actors in an ensemble. He says, again with a humility that should excite us about what is in the future for Jack and his audiences. "I learned a shit ton from these producing projects in working in that capacity, and I did really enjoy it. Everything about it I enjoyed, and I ultimately think I've realized as well that I like being good at what I do, but I also really enjoy being surrounded by the best, and also being part of the reason that someone can flourish." Elsewhere, he's emphasized this point. His favorite thing in our industry is great actors, when he's given the platform to create an environment or help in a scene or even a schedule to help an actor be as good as they can be when they're brilliant. I get a real kick out of that. This generosity is reflected in comments made by some of Jack's collaborators and professional peers, including Martin Freeman. Martin Freeman and Jack Lowden worked together in the London West End transfer of David Ireland's new play, The Fifth Step, which had premiered in Scotland. And this is a quote from Martin. "My time working with Jack was, from the first, an absolute pleasure. It was then an absolute joy and never dipped beneath that. He has that ability that I treasure in others and aim for myself to make light work of what we do. His work rate is highly impressive, but he just gets on with it. Added to this is his talent, which is frankly rare. Instantly watchable, truthful, with no vanity. And oh my God, so much fun. We really laughed, mainly at ourselves. Having not known Jack before this year, he went in with a bullet into my favourite actors I've ever worked with. I won't say what number he is. As well as all the above attributes, he's also very jealous. I don't need the grief. In short, both our partners thought that Jack and I were going to run off together. I would only maybe possibly, but not quite, run off with a colleague who was the best of the best. That's Jack. So I'm going to need more information on this last part after the ceremony, but it seems that Jack has an ability to inspire statements from colleagues that are both testament to his unique impact on them and the industry, as well as suggesting a really weird alternative biopic idea in my head. Take this from David Ireland. Jack Lowden could get away with being one of the most arrogant, entitled actors on the planet. His talent is such that he could willfully kill puppies on the street in full view of the world's paparazzi and still have a career. That's what I would do if I had his abilities, says David Ireland. But he is genuinely one of the most humble, considered, conscientious people I've met in this business, and he is a credit to this fine institution. When he's not massacring puppies and running off with Martin Freeman, there's nonetheless still time for Jack to spare a thought for the future of the arts, and he has said something that will resonate with all our graduates, colleagues, and professionals in this room today. Cuts are being made, and the arts are always one of the first to go. But they are unbelievably important, and they can change opinions, they can change lives. We shouldn't be relying all the time on how resourceful people in the arts can be. We should be aiming to be a world leader in the arts because the potential is here. Jack, through the breadth and impact of your outstanding work, your elevation of others' potential, and using your creativity, humour, and experience to platform the importance of powerful art making, you offer a strong role model for so many young performers, as well as evidently seasoned professionals who know the highest quality when they see it. We are so delighted to have you here with us today. I therefore ask the Principal to confer the degree of Doctor of Drama, honoris causa, upon Jack Lowden.
By virtue of the powers granted by the Privy Council to the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland to confer an honorary degree of the Conservatoire upon any person it may deem worthy of such distinction, and in the name of the Academic Board, I confer upon you, Jack Lowden, the degree of Doctor of Drama, honoris causa. Many.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Deputy Principal. That was painful and lovely at the same time. And thank you to whoever is responsible for this doctorate. It is a very lovely thing. Congratulations to you, Philip. And also, most importantly, probably congratulations to those graduating today, but I'll get to yous in a minute. Full disclosure, I've just had a bairn, right? So if I ramble or I greet, I can only apologise, okay? I am incredibly proud to be a product of the Conservatoire and of Scotland in general. Because as you know, we, the Scots, invented or discovered everything. Penicillin, the fridge, the bicycle, the tyre, tarmac. We obviously went through a very road-based period at some point. And as I like to say, even time itself, after Scots-born Canadian Sanford Fleming's invention of time zones. Look it up. And obviously a personal shout out to the inventors of both the television and the telephone, who gave us actors something to occasionally work on, but also something to be told they loved you, but it's a no on. So thanks for that, lads. When I was sat there almost 15 years ago, Jesus, it was Richard Attenborough getting one of these. So I can only apologise to my fellow students that instead of a much shorter but brilliant man giving you this advice today, you've been landed with a very lucky and lanky streak of the proverbial. So I'm very sorry for that. Or as I am sometimes also known as, oh yeah, not Tom Hardy, the other pilot. Or as mentioned before, my personal favourite, when once working in a particularly cold theatre, Lowden the Perky Nipple Tintin look-alike. I mention these because you see, actors, artists, you really don't get to choose much in our game. You don't get to choose, for example, how good at acting you are. Literally everyone else in the world decides that for you. So actors, just drop that now, okay? You don't get to choose how you are seen in this industry. If you are the baddie, or if you're the goodie, if you're the funny guy, or the edgy guy, even with an earring, edgy may still elude you. You don't even get to choose when you will actually work, or if you even will, as we know. But fear not, because in my opinion, when you do get to work, there are three things that you do get to choose: how ready you are, how useful you are, and most importantly, how brave you are. Being ready, to start with, to me goes beyond knowing your lines as an actor and turning up on time, although actors, please do that. To me, being ready means being ready for anything, in every direction, like a spider, if that helps. For example, such a tart. They've had to cut most of your lines because there's no time. Nay bother, I'll just do it with a look, right? The other actor's change is taking longer than we thought, and we're losing the light. Nay bother, I'll do it with a tennis ball. The wind machine hasn't turned up. Nay bother, ask that guy for his leaf blower, okay? Nothing is in your control but you, so be ready. And expect the worst. As well as all those things that I listed that changed the world, I believe as Scots one of our most useful inventions was pessimism. And seeing as we're in a very official setting tonight, I would like to officially reclaim and celebrate our pessimism as something that I am genuinely proud of. As along with penicillin, a healthy dose of both means you'll never break a Scot. So just remember, it's not sunny, it's just not raining yet. Secondly, be useful, okay? Look beyond your own brief. Look to and learn from other departments. The best directors of actors that I have ever worked with understand how actors think. Some of the best actors that I've worked with have brains like editors and suggest a tweak that can save half a day. So my advice to directors, do some acting. In fact, I think that should become compulsory for directors. And to actors, do some thinking. Think. If something somewhere isn't working, please be a problem solver and not a moaner, all right? Have ideas and offer solutions. It doesn't matter where the idea comes from, because trust me, the smartest people out there are those who believe in best idea wins. So no ego, just be useful. And lastly, be brave. It's something that I still struggle with, and certainly something that was in danger of overwhelming me when I was here. Until the day that Jean Sangster pulled me aside and lovingly said, "Forgive me, Lowden, you need to let your inner bastard out." Now, to be fair to Jean, she was probably talking about my character in whatever scene we were working on that day. But genuinely, that moment has stuck with me. I don't mean that since then I've been walking around kicking folk or stuff. What it has meant is that I've taken chances in my work. Not in the jobs that I've chosen to take on, but what I have chosen to do in those jobs. And yes, probably to everyone else, it looks like the same performance, just in a different wig. But I know what brave means to me. What Jean revealed to me that day is that this game, at its core, is and should be you versus you, nobody else. Nailing it is for the benefit of others. Pushing beyond yourself is for you. And see, once you're doing that, lads, you're laughing. Because by being brave, it will give you multiple experiences of what I believe is the true gift of our job, the chance to make mistakes. Because it is only in making mistakes that you do actually get better. Ability, talent, whatever you want to call it, it's just a thing that you carry around. But bravery is what allows you to use it. We are told all the time to take our time, to not be in a hurry. But if there is one thing you should be in a hurry to do, all of you, it is to make as many mistakes as possible. So, finally, thank you very much. That's a lovely honour. But most importantly, congratulations to the class of 2025. Now go out there, be ready, be useful, and be a brave bunch of bastards.
It is now my pleasure to introduce performances in celebration of the work of Dr. Philip Howard and Dr. Jack Lowden.
wind blows, the sun shines, the crops grow, the sky, the bird flies, the clouds, the tree, what? Stands. The tree stands. The sky. The sky. The sun warms the wind that blows. The wind pushes the clouds under the sky. Black cloud holds rain. White clouds. The bird flies under the white cloud into the tree. The wind pushes the clouds under the sun. White clouds for white clouds for white clouds. When the sun comes back, the warm wind will blow on my face. When I look up, I will see the sun shine bright in the sky. The clouds will be white. The crops, the strong crops will grow on the good field. The bird will sing on the tall tree. The tall tree will stand and the warm wind will shake the leaves. The rabbit will run on the good field where the strong crops grow. New day will start and end the night. Night will be gone.
Everyone suddenly burst out singing, and I was filled with such delight as prisoned birds must find in freedom, winging wildly across the white orchards and dark green fields. On, and out of sight. Everyone's voice was suddenly lifted, and beauty came like the setting sun. My heart was shaken with tears, and horror drifted away. Oh, but everyone was a bird, and the song was wordless. The singing will never be done.
I now invite the directors to present the graduands for their awards.
In the name of the School of Stage and Screen, and with the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduands who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Arts in Acting, Classical and Contemporary Text. Jacopo Adolini. Elizabeth Anderson. Archie Barrington. Adam James William Johnston. James Kane. Pablo Lopez Sanchez Matas. Rebecca Bodie McDermott. Lassa Mobus. Noel Peterson. Errol Rodriguez. Sumin Ryu. Eva Smith. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Arts in Directing Classical and Contemporary Text. Gracie Davey. Anna McDonald. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Arts in Musical Theatre, Musical Directing. Ellen Arnold. Falk Meyer. Matias Cortino. Jacob Sternberg. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you this graduate who has been found worthy to receive the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Musical Theatre. Sheridan Townsley.
In the name of the School of Music and with the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you this graduate who has been found worthy to receive the award of Artist Diploma in Music. Claudia Edwards. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Arts. Xinyue Chang. Shuyi Lai. Yixiao Liu. In composition, Callum Walker. In historically informed performance practice, Megan Swift. In jazz, Eleanor Grace Coley. Ross Mackenzie. In performance, Denzel William Brune. Xinwen Chang. Yan Chen. Yao Chen. Elizabeth Ann Fletcher. Xingyang Gong, Constance Grandparent, Vita Hoffinger Mihelit, David Roberto Saravia Bolivar, Yi Sun, Zhengyue Xue, Tianyi Zhao, in piano for dance, Zhengyun Dei, with the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Music in Opera. Fraser Robinson. Wing Xuan Stephanie Wong. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you this graduate who has been found worthy to receive the award of Professional Graduate Diploma in Education Music, Robert Noble. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Bachelor of Music in Composition, Hannah Morrison. In performance with honours of the second class, Eden Devani. On behalf of the partnership comprising the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland and the National Piping Centre of Scotland, and with the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you this graduate who has been found worthy to receive the degree of Bachelor of Music in Traditional Music, Piping, with honours of the second class, Andrew Orr.
Principal, in the name of the Directorate of Business Development and with the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Arts, Psychology in the Arts, Music. Brianna Berman. Rebecca Crowther. Kaylin De Jaeger. James Picken. And Clara Schmidt. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the degree of Master of Education in Learning and Teaching in the Arts. Bronwyn Carr Bates. Jennifer Doran. Joanna Duncan. Hayley Earlham. Amy Firth. Julie Fleming. Giovanni Giacoia. Raymond Keith. Kirby Kelman. Jennifer Marr. Lindsay McAvoy. Nikki McCabe. Alan McGreedy. Lisa McGovern. Stephen Mullen. Deirdre Murphy. David Nutter. Dale Parker. Lisa Queen. Lucy Ralph. Stephanie Rhodes. Siobhan Roger. Rebecca Smith. Kirsty Strahan. And Lindsay Sutherland. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I present to you these graduates who have been found worthy to receive the award of Postgraduate Certificate in Learning and Teaching in the Arts. Lucy Brown. Maria Jimenez Arequia. With the authority of the Academic Board of the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, I request that you confer the appropriate degree upon those graduates listed as in absentia in the programme.
I confer those appropriate degrees in absentia. Congratulations to the class of 2025. You all did it. It's really amazing. It's your graduation, your day to celebrate, and you know we're all so proud of you. There's been a whole team of people on your journey with you that helped make it possible. And I'd like to mention some of them today, including your program teams and staff across the RCS, some of whom are right here in front of you, as well as your classmates, your fellow students, who I'm sure at different points through your studies all have rooted for you and helped you get through the more challenging moments. Another important part of that home team are your friends and your loved ones, some of whom are here in the Stevenson Hall with you today. Can I ask you all to be upstanding and applaud them by way of saying thank you for their love and support. Thank you, friends and family. We're also recognizing and celebrating today the achievements of our new fellow, Fred Freeman, and our honorary doctors, Philip Howard and Jack Lowden. Warm congratulations to Fred, to Philip, to Jack, for all that you've done in your art forms, for your inspiring words from our honorary doctorates today, and for keeping the arts alive in the various ways that all three of you make such important contributions. So for my remarks to graduates today, I've been thinking a lot about maps. I've always loved collecting old ones. I have some early ones of parts of the United Kingdom, and I have a great one of my home state of Delaware that came really cheap because nobody cares about that state except me. Maps have had fascinating changes over the centuries as our knowledge and technology expanded. Such improvements taught us that the Earth isn't flat, for instance. Probably a Scot that taught us that, who knows? Looking at the maps of Scotland's complicated west coast and seeing all those castle ruins on the promontories, I realized that people got around much more in those early days on water. It was much more direct to sail those heavy stones over to build that castle than it was to cart them on dry land routes through the Rest and Be Thankful Pass, for instance. And I'm still looking for a store there called Spend and Be Grateful. Maybe someone will start it. When I first moved to the UK in 1988, I was amazed you could get the whole country in one AA atlas. You could see the motorways, the A roads, the B roads, the little grayed out country roads in every village. I remember trying to understand my first A to Z of London. I missed US-style street signs on the corner, and I was searching for road names on buildings as the road names changed every couple of 100 yards, and there wasn't a single right angle or crossing, unlike our lovely grid system right here in Glasgow. These days, my skills in map reading are almost gone, thanks to my phone. A little voice tells me when and where to turn, and I get there usually. But I don't see how I did, and I have less agency in determining the route. I can't see how this loch lies in relation to the nearby Munro, or if it's close to a friend that we might want to stop by. It's much harder to see the whole picture. We have great live traffic updates, and we may be more efficient in route planning, but we've lost something in not using a map. The maps serve as wayfinders. They help us understand the whole picture, the adjacencies, the barriers, the solutions, the scenic spots, the pitfalls. In life, a similar thing has happened. We're streamed by algorithms into our social groups, our usual preferences, our common opinions, and we miss seeing the wider picture or engaging with differing points of view. That's where the arts come in, as we've heard from our doctors today. The creators of works of literature, compositions, plays, dances, and films are the cartographers of life. They show us the complete picture using their overview of characters, of motifs or themes, to show all sides of the landscape. I remember I was driving home once in Cleveland, and I heard the author, one of my favorites, John Updike, on a beautiful program that was called This I Believe. And he talked about the power of fiction to help give perspective to real life. And he said, I seem most instinctively to believe in the human value of creative writing, whether in the form of verse or fiction, as a mode of truth-telling, self-expression, and homage to the twin miracles of creation and consciousness. The artist brings something into the world that didn't exist before, and he does it without destroying something else. We have all said, and I've said until I'm blue in the face, that we need the arts to keep the bonds of society together. The phrase now more than ever in relation to needing investment in the arts has been said so much, I fear it feels empty. I fear those words become white noise to decision makers in government, to potential philanthropists and campaigners. There will always be something more urgent. And sure, it's hard to argue against funding healthcare or ending homelessness or emptying bins. The arts, of course, can create a sense of urgency within themselves or on behalf of causes, but have somehow never managed to create the sense of immediacy or urgency about their own precariousness. Our governments are very good at stating the importance of the arts to our national reputation, to our identity, to our economy. Officials and ministers love having film and TV shows made here. They love to showcase our creative industries internationally, and they love to bask in the glow of success and celebrity. But what are our arts for, and for whom? Is it just for visitors to our country? Is it just for international students to study at our conservatoire? Of course our arts are for them, but they're also for young people to learn how to do it, to learn to appreciate it, and for communities to benefit from the convening presence and shared emotional experience that an artistic event provides. It can, and of course should be both. But if it is to be the latter at all, for talent to have the opportunity to emerge and be nurtured wherever it springs from, we need to stop treating arts training as an optional pastime as a passing experience, as something nice for those who can afford it. This is fundamentally short-sighted and wrong. We need to stand our ground and make our value understood. All of us at the RCS can see the significance of Updike's words. We are world builders, creators, interpreters, innovators. All graduates here today have honed their craft, their voice, and their talent, and are poised, as Updike said, to bring something into the world without destroying something else. You have been so strong and empathetic to navigate yourselves to here and through here, and that strength and resilience and empathy will help you navigate your map and to create a map for others as we draw in together to revel in what you do next. We wish for you that your creative enthusiasm will sustain you and carry you wherever you want to go from here. And you take our love and very best wishes from all of your RCS family, wherever that might be. Thank you. This congregation is now ended. Please be upstanding for our graduates.